All right, let's do this. Let's go. All right. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I hope you're all doing okay. Let me just move my camera over a little bit like that. There we go. So I hope you're all doing fine. I know that I am. So I'm kind of anxious. This is going to be another one of these short streams because I'm going to be working on the background of this painting right here. And I'm going to have to wait for it to dry more or less so I can move on. So let's not waste any time. I'm going to go over to the computer. We're going to check out very quickly what we did yesterday, and we'll start our day from there. So what did we do? Okay, oh yes, there we go. So we turned our canvas around to work on it vertically, and then we started putting the first coat of our plant. So we used some turquoise green at first, then we added some light purple, and we finished with some turquoise blue. They almost look the same, the green and the blue, yet there is a subtle difference. So that's basically what we did, all very simple stuff. Usually I work on the backgrounds, put on the details, and then I add the plants. This time I decided I would work kind of like I used to work when I did posters and glued them on the street, which is contrary to all the laws of painting. I would start with the foreground and work my way towards the background, which is not really what you're supposed to do. But in this particular case, I'm going to do it like that for the simple reason that since I love texture and putting on my paints nice and thick, if I put the details on the background and then I cover it afterwards, well, you can see all the ripples of the thickness of the paint that's underneath. And it kind of bothers me sometimes. So it bothers me while I paint because if I try to make a straight line, the bump makes the line go a little bit crooked. I have to be more concentrated. I like things to flow, you know, that's how I like to paint. I don't rework too much my paints. I don't work wet and wet. I like my paints I like everything to go quickly, harmoniously, and to be fun while I'm doing it. So that said, what am I going to do? Actually, I'm going to do what I call my electromagnetic waves. In fact, they're just like little circles going, 4 levels of circles going from the inner towards the outer. And they crisscross, kind of like if you throw a stone in a pond and you see the ripples going out from the center and you throw another stone and the ripples crisscross. I kind of have that, except instead of a pond, in my mind, since I love astrophysics and I love astronomy, in my mind, these are electromagnetic waves. Whatever. So I'm going to start off by drawing these things with a compass and a pencil, and then I'm going to go over it with gold paint. So that's what today's schedule is. So let's start right now. I'm going to start on the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to work my way down. We'll be putting maybe a second coat of these paints also, and then I'm going to, well, we'll see. We'll just take this one step at a time. There we go. So I'm going to start right here. There we go. One maybe right here as well. So I'm just going to do the inner circle first, and then I'll go back and I'll add all the outer circles later. Just trying to keep these kind of at an equidistant, you know. I want it to look like they were just randomly put on the canvas, but obviously I want there to be some sort of a balance to the whole thing. Also, by putting my plants first, like I did yesterday, it permits me not to have to do these electromagnetic waves in areas that will be covered up anyways. So it all works out for the better. I don't think I could give any courses in drawing, though, or painting, because I don't really follow the academic rules. I'm kind of self-taught, and I kind of paint what I see, what I feel. I don't really care what's in vogue, what's the cool thing to do. I know a lot of people do these kind of like Jean-Michel Basquiat type of paintings. That's the big thing. A lot of splattering, dripping. Well, I do put splattering in my paintings, that's for sure. But all the dripping and all that stuff, kind of abstract, leaving it up to chance. No, my paintings are a lot more structured. I use a lot of symbolism in my paintings. I consider my paintings to be kind of like koans, you know, those little Japanese stories that Zen masters give their students, which look like kind of childish little stories, but yet when the student gets the full grasp of the story, it's one step closer to understanding the full picture. So I think that is pretty good. If I have to come back and add one or another, I will. So let's move on to the second ring. I'll make this just a little bit bigger. Just like that, maybe. And I'll go all the way around just like I did. That's basically what we're going to be doing today. I guess when I start painting this, I'll put some music in the background, so I don't have to talk as much, and so that the viewing will be more pleasant as well. I mean, I figured, you know, why am I doing these live streams? Watching someone paint might be rather boring. And I figured, like, since I'm going to be in the studio, and this is what I do, why not show everybody the process and what goes on? I find that fascinating myself. I love watching other artists paint, see how they set up their studios. I also work here. My studio is in a collective of artists. I mean, we have a building with 5 stories, 5 flights of just studio spaces. So I constantly am going from one studio to another to talk with my fellow artists. Let me grab my chair again here. And I love kind of sneaking up on them while they're working and just kind of looking how they set up and what brushes they use, and I kind of find that interesting. I would have loved to have seen like what happened in the life of Gauguin 130 years ago, or Van Gogh. Can you imagine seeing those guys in their studios, or when they're outdoors painting, and when they're getting into those fights because they're totally smashed, getting drunk on absinthe or whatnot? I think that'd be pretty cool. Except that I'm not drinking any absinthe and I don't get into fights with my fellow artists. So I see that I've skipped one of my rings down here. No big deal. I'll just come back right now and fix that. There we go. And let's move on. Let me get back to where I was here. I love it when these rings crisscross between themselves, but I have a feeling on this painting they won't, because I'm not putting that many of them. Plus, with this pink background, I'm not sure if the gold will be seen or not. I've never really used this kind of a background before. Or if I have, I don't remember. That's possible too. There we go. Just a couple more. And then we'll be adding the last ring. All right, very good. So let's figure out the distance for this last ring, which will be a little bit bigger further out. How about there? How's that look? Just step back and take a look. Yeah, that'll do it. And that actually might crisscross with these other rings, which is exactly what I love. Oh yes, no problem. Beautiful. So this is kind of these details in the background that you never really pay attention to, except when the sun or the light just shines the right way and you have that little glare of gold. It looks kind of nice. There we go. All right. Okay, so they do crisscross. I wasn't sure. There's going to be more leaves and plants anyways, but whatever. At least I think so. Who knows? I have no idea really what's going to be. You know, I take these paintings kind of like puzzles. I have no idea what I'm going to be painting here and here yet. I have a pretty good idea, but it's the same for the frame that I'm going to be painting around this painting. I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, my paintings are so structured that if I can have just a little bit of improvisation, a little bit of flexibility, it's always nicer than knowing right from the beginning what I'm going to do and sticking to the plan. Sometimes I do like that. I do know what I'm going to do. But when I don't know, it's you know, it's hit and miss. Sometimes it looks great and sometimes it looks horrible. And that's the fun part. Okay, so let's grab the chair and do these last rings. I guess this one I can, oops. Oh, I already did that one. Okay. When I do these rings, I should have like the music of the Twilight Zone. Do 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 do. Yes, that was my Twilight Zone imitation. Do 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 do. Okay, just there. Got that lower one, got that one, that one. So I'm pretty much all set here, am I? So the top part looks a little more cluttered than the bottom part, but let's paint it in and then we'll figure out if we need to add a few rings or not. So what do we need now? We need a swig of water. That's what we need. There we go. Little swig of water, and now a palette. So I'll grab a clean one here. So let me just go over to camera number 1 here. I'm going to bring this over a little bit closer, and I'm going to show you then. You see, my palettes, I use the cap to my paint cans. And when they're nice and thick like that, and you want to get to the palette, all you do is just grab the edge like this. And you start pulling it off. And as you see, the binder of these pigments is a polymer emulsion. So all you have to do is just peel it off, and you have a brand new clean palette. And then you can see how acrylic paints are really, really very just plastic. Amazing. Now, the early acrylic paints in the 50s and early 60s, they used to yellow as they got older, which was a real drag. But they made so much progress with the polymer emulsion that theoretically it's supposed to stay like plastic on our planet, right, for hundreds of thousands of years. So is that a good thing or not? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I've been painting, well, let's not talk about that. Half my paintings have to deal with ecology and the destruction of the planet. So anyways, so let me set up my camera. I'm going to start on this upper left-hand corner, and I'm going to work my way down. Like that, I'm sure I'm not going to put my hand in the wet gold paint, even though having gold fingers doesn't bother me at all. But anyways, so I'm going to zoom in as well because I don't want to be in front of the lens. I did this exceptionally because I was talking, but not when I'm painting, because I kind of edit these little videos afterwards just so I can show my clients what was involved in making the painting that they purchase. And so anyways, so that's why I don't really like to be in front of the lens, because if I'm going to edit the painting, it's kind of a drag to see my face. So let's get some gold out. I have several golds, but I really love the iridescent gold. It's the yellow and the brightest one. I have a red gold here, which I rarely use. And sometimes the iridescent gold is hard to find, so sometimes I end up using a different kind of gold, which not quite the same. Okay, so I got that done. I'm going to just add a little bit of water to that, just so it's more fluid. Not too much water, because I do want to keep the opacity of the paint, right? I don't want to see through it, because there's no way in the world I'm going to be putting 2 or 3 coats of paint, right? So let me just grab a kind of a thick brush here to add the water to the paint. And here's the brush I'm going to be using. I got worried there for a split second because I couldn't find it buried amongst all the other brushes. But anyways, it's one of those long soft brushes. And this one here is kind of a shorter, thicker, fatter brush that I'm just going to use to blend a little bit of water with the gold. Now, when I mix colors like we did yesterday, I go in front of the camera and we do that together. But when it's just like adding water to a color or whatever, not that exciting or interesting, so I might as well just do it quickly, get it over with. I'm not sure I'm going to have enough gold here now that I look at what I put. Well, we'll just add more later if we need it. That's still a little too thick. So while I'm doing this, maybe I'll walk over to the computer and take a look and see how our stream is doing. So using 33% of the CPU, 30 frames per second. We're uploading at 4,000 kilobytes per second, and there are no drop frames. What more could I ask for? So everything on that level is going pretty good. And I'm still just going to add another drop of water because I still think this is a little thick. Just trying to find that right balance, right? And you know what? When I start painting, I hate to stop. So I'm going to add a little bit more gold right now because I'm afraid I don't have enough there. I mean, I know it's just little rings, but believe it or not, they do add up. So just to avoid going through this process for a second time, I'd rather just add a little more gold right now. It's true that I'm a little stingy with my paints because I use so much of them and they cost so much. But I spend more on paints than I actually make from selling my paintings. So there's no way I'm going to stop painting, so I'd rather be a little cheap and make sure I use up everything I put out here. Already I see I've had quite a bit of my light purple from our leaves here left over that are kind of hard now, a waste. And that always bums me out. I try to make sure I have everything the right way, so I still need more water here. There we go. Let's work this out here. Work this up. I'll just kind of blend and turn and churn all this with some water. Oh, that looks pretty good there. That looks pretty good. Let me get everything to the middle of the palette. It's a little, well, I don't know if it's a little thick. It looks good though. I think maybe I'll just try like that with the other brush. So I'll just wet that a little bit as well. And I'm going to step back, take a look. And all right, so let's tackle this baby. So I'm going to play some music from my friend Pete's. He's a DJ, and these are kind of just tracks that he's working on that he gave me that I could use as a background. They're from unfinished works or that works that he's working on right now. So anyways, I'm just going to play all this as I jump to camera number 1 and start doing our electromagnetic waves. I zoomed in because I can't really see what I'm doing. The gold, it's kind of an overcast, cloudy day, no sunlight coming through the window, so. I'm going to have to remember to move the camera as well. Baby down a little bit like that. while I think of it. All right, so let's head on back way to the top here. Very good. So I'm going to move the camera over a little bit, and then I'm going to do like a major zoom right in here where my finger is. Where is my finger? I can't even see it right there. Just so I have some material to edit my movie afterwards. You know, when you're editing a movie, the more you have to play with, the better it is. There we go. Now I can move it back to a more reasonable distance. Again, this is just the background, right? I'm going to put quite a few things on top of this once it's dry. There we go. So where's the camera at? I've got to remember the camera. There we go, move that baby like that. Okay, I'm gonna have to grab my chair in a few seconds. There's no point in breaking my back. Pretty good. Now I'm going to bring this down a little bit here. I'm going to grab my chair. There we go. Clean off the brush. There we go. Let's bring this camera down and right in this area here, and I'll zoom in. Okay, since I'm used to working my way left to right, I'm going to just stop right here and go back over more to the left to continue. So where am I? I'm about right here. That looks pretty good. And I will just switch over then to camera number 1. There we go. So wait, let me just take a look. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe down a little bit more. There we go. All right. So we're almost done right here. Okay, so I'm going to stop the music for a second as I step back and take a look and see from Well, it is pretty crowded with gold. I didn't think I had done that many rings, but very good. I mean, it'll all disappear, first of all, when it dries, and second of all, when I add the rest of the details to the painting, most of that will disappear as is, so very good. Okay, so what to do next? I think I'm going to just add a second coat of these leaves here on the plant. So I'm going to grab my turquoise green. This is going to go rather quickly as well. Turquoise green. Going to add some white paint because I would like it to be kind of light colored. Now I notice as this turquoise green right here, and right here, as it dried, it got a little darker, like most paints do actually. I say it almost every time on my show, that paint tends to darken as it dries. But it kind of fooled me there. So let me see if I can't get it to be a little lighter. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Does it? No, a little bit. We'll see. I'll put on quite a bit of white paint though. I think yesterday I put 1 scoop. Well, today maybe I'll put 2 scoops. 2 scoops and a half, how about that? Just to make it a little bit lighter. I'm doing it a lighter turquoise green because I would like to put a darker turquoise green, an edge of that afterwards to give it some sort of a detail on the edges of the leaves. But we'll see. One step at a time. So for this, I'm going to need a larger brush, probably the brush I'm going to be painting with, which could be this one, right? I don't remember what I used yesterday. Or did I use this one? I guess it doesn't matter. This one looks pretty good. So in this particular case, I guess I will come over to camera number 1. We can blend this together. So let me just go over here. I'll bring a jar of water and I'll turn Mr. Camera around, bring it down, and then we can just do the blending together of our turquoise green and white paint. And actually, I think maybe just to go a little bit faster, I can maybe just pour. There we go, just a few drops, just to go a little bit quicker. I mean, we all know that painting is a slow process, but still, I am a impatient painter. See, it's still going to need a little bit of water. Just a little bit of water. It's nice and thick. You can see how creamy this is becoming. But I think it's still a little thick. Since it's a second coat, it doesn't need to be that thick. So let me just clean off my brush here on the edge. And then I'm going to just dip it down here and grab another big fat load of water. And let's blend this in and see what we have. Yeah, this looks much better. It's still nice and creamy, but a little more liquid without losing its opacity, of course. So when I put down the second coat on these leaves, I don't really need to go to the edge of the leaves since they will be painted over anyway. So this is why, just another reason why the second coat goes so much quicker than the first coat. Plus I don't have to concentrate on the shape or anything. All I have to do is just go for it. So, just making sure everything looks good. That does look pretty good, doesn't it? It's still pretty thick, but not too thick. It should still flow nicely on the canvas. But let's try it. If not, we'll just add another little bit of water. So let's bring the camera up and now move it over here. We're going to start with that center, the center piece up there. There. So let's go for this right away. Let me get rid of a little bit of the paint on my brush. There we go. And just like before, we're going to start on the left-hand side. And as you can see, it is lighter than our first coat, even though it will darken. Hopefully it'll stay lighter. But at least it's hiding all those brush strokes that I can see through that first coat, which is why we are putting on the second coat. Very good. I say I don't need to get close to the edge, and yet for some reason I can't help myself. I'm still doing that. Force of habit, I guess. And tomorrow we'll be able to put that the edges on probably, I guess, unless we work on the background. We'll see. Gotta be careful of the gold, not to put my hand in it. There we go. Again, no need to go so close to the edge, but I'm still doing it. Oh, there we go. So, got that baby done. Let's just pull back and we'll come down and tackle this guy right in here. There we go. And I might as well just go right to the edge, just like that. All right. This paint is a little thick here. I'm going to have to add a little drop of water. I can feel it. Which I'll do right now. There we go. Just add a drop of water so it flows the way it should. There we go. I should get my chair, but I'm just being a little lazy here. There we go. Okay, very good. So let's pull this baby over here. Go to the right-hand side now. And for this one, I am going to grab my chair. There we go. And I am going to grab another drop of water. There we go. All right. There we go. Very nice. Okay, so let's do the same thing with the purple. Again, this purple is slightly darker than what I would have liked, so I'm going to be a little more careful, even though I'm really not that picky, but still. So let's grab the purple here. And let's put a lot of white as well. Keep the materials nice and clean before we move on. There we go. Everything going okay on the stream. Very good. Now let's add some white paint. And just like before, I'll probably go to camera number 1 and we can blend this in together. So yesterday I put 1 big scoop. Today we'll put in 2 big scoops. That's a lot of paint. I'm going to have a lot of waste there. Again, a major drag. Hate wasting my paint, but sometimes that's the way it goes, unfortunately. Okay, so let's use this big brush again. Get all the turquoise out of it. And let's blend in the purple. So I will come over to camera numero 1. And again, we'll just do this together. Let me turn this baby around. Get away from my dirty jacket. And let's blend all this together to get a nice light purple. The purple overwhelms the white so quickly, though. See, it's already getting extremely dark. So maybe I'll move everything down to the bottom edge here to avoid most of my purple paint. Because I do have a lot of paint here, so I can just play with half of what I have and just worry about blending it and getting it to be the right consistency to glide on the painting the way it should, or the way I would like it to. So I'm just going to keep blending it because we don't want any white or purple streaks. We want it to be nice and homogeneous. And I'll do the details afterwards when it's all dry to bring in the special effects. There we go. So this is quite a bit lighter than what we had, I think. At least I know as well it's going to darken as it dries, as I keep mentioning. But anyways, so let's just play with that. You can see, maybe you can see the difference about how it was yesterday and today, though it did darken as it dried, but we'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed. And if it's too dark, well, we'll just go with that. No big deal. Okay, so let's bring up our camera. Let's offset it as well, because that's what we're going for, that upper left-hand leaf. Oops, let me get I have so many wires on the floor here. I have more wires than I have paintbrushes almost. So let's tackle that up there. And this is going to be, yes, quite a bit lighter. But since it has a purple background, it doesn't really matter. As you see a little bit through it. Again, no need for me to go too close to the edge, since there will be a darker purple edge to it, and an outline. Yeah, there is that glare from the light above. There we go. There we go. Purple haze, purple rain, purple leaves. Now let's get these babies here. Where am I? I'm way down here. There we go. Let's get this guy here. I think I'm going to have to add a little bit of water to this. I am having a hard time. Just a little drop of water and blend it in the paint. There we go. There we go. Et voilà, très bien. Hop. Okay, so there we go for the purple. Let me just add a little bit. You can see it's getting darker already wherever it's starting to dry, but that's fine. That's just fine. So let's come back over here. And so let me just step back for a second, take a look and see what we're at. Yes, I like these much lighter like this. Definitely like it better. Though the turquoise blue doesn't look that bad, a little bit darker. So, whatever. So, let's add our last and second coat of turquoise blue, which is right here. Again, I will add, of course, a little bit of white paint to it as well. Boom, boom, boom. So maybe I'll put on the music while I'm doing all this. And just like before, this turquoise blue seems to overwhelm. So I'm just going to use a section of the palette and I'm going to add some more white to that section to make it nice lighter. I want these to be nice and pastel color like. There we go. And I grabbed another palette to do the mixing in it to get away from the darker turquoise blue. Okay, this looks pretty good. So where are we at here? is quite a bit lighter, isn't it? Okay, let me just add maybe back just a little bit of darker. Okay. Just added a little bit of water because it was nice and thick, but too thick. There we go, that should look pretty nice. I must say, the blue doesn't show that much. It's almost like baby cerulean blue, I don't know. Anyway, so let's go for it. So I'll zoom in with our camera. Let me bring it closer actually, just like that. And let's see what this gives us. Yeah, a lot lighter, which is what we wanted. So very good. Very good. Excellent. And let's go all the way down here to tackle that last little plant. Whoa, there's that window in window, which I hate so much. Goodbye. When I have the music on, that little pop-up window comes on by itself, which is so annoying. And sometimes I want it to pop up, but I want to make the decisions, not let the computer decide for me. No need for me to be that close to the edge, but again, can't seem to help myself. Jesus, when will I learn? Go. Well, there we go. There we go. Very nice. Very good. Okay, very good, very good. So, there's our painting, seen from camera number 2. Oh, let me get rid of that friggin' window. So I'll start this again. View from camera number 2 again. I'm doing this part just for the editing of my movie. And then we'll switch to camera number 1. There we go. So, my friends, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed this session of painting, an hour and a half. And I hope as well you join me tomorrow for another session of as we continue on this painting. So I'm going to leave you like usual with 2 things. My schedule and by saying, ciao mes amis.